Chapter 3. No one saw. The third year arrived quietly. The seasons continued their endless cycle across the valley. Spring brought fresh green fields. Summer covered the land in warmth. Autumn painted the trees in shades of gold. Winter wrapped everything in silence. Yet through it all, the patch of soil where Way had planted the banyan remained unchanged. No shoots, no visible growth, nothing. By now, most people in the village had stopped asking about the bamboo. At first, they had been curious. Then they had become skeptical. Now they simply assumed the experiment had failed. Whenever villagers passed Wise field, they would glance toward the empty patch and shake their heads. 3 years, one farmer said. Imagine how much corn could have grown there. Another laughed. At least corn shows up. May heard the comments. He always did, but he never responded. Instead, he continued carrying water to the same spot every morning. Routine had become part of his life. Wake before sunrise, feed the animals, check the crops, water the bamboo, then begin the day's work. Every single day, no exceptions. One afternoon, while repairing a fence, we noticed a group of children playing nearby. One of them pointed toward the bamboo patch. That's where the invisible tree lives. The others laughed. Soon they were all pretending to water imaginary plants. Wise smiled despite himself. Children were not being cruel. They simply repeated what they heard from adults. Still, their laughter lingered in his mind long after they left. That evening, he sat outside watching the sunset. The sky glowed orange and purple as darkness slowly settled over the valley. For the first time in many months, doubt returned. Not as a whisper, but as a voice. A loud one. What if everyone is right? What if the seed is dead? What if I have wasted 3 years? The questions repeated themselves. Again and again. He stared at the ground. 3 years. Thousands of trips carrying water. Thousands of moments spent hoping. And still nothing. The next morning he woke before dawn as usual. This time he did not immediately grab the bucket. Instead, he sat quietly. The house was silent. The village was silent. Even the birds had not begun singing. For several minutes he simply sat there, thinking, wondering, questioning. Then he stood up, picked up the bucket, and walked outside. Not because he felt confident, not because he felt certain, but because he had made a promise. When he reached the bamboo patch, he slowly poured water onto the soil. The earth absorbed every drop, just as it had for 3 years. As he turned to leave, something unexpected happened. His son, Jian, approached. The boy had been watching from a distance. Father? Yes? Do you really think it will grow? He looked at the patch, then at his son. Finally, he answered honestly, I don't know. The boy looked surprised. You don't? Wei shook his head. No. Then why keep watering it? The question hung in the cool morning air. Wei thought carefully before answering. Because some things are worth doing even when success is uncertain. John considered the answer. He didn't fully understand, but he remembered it. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The valley remained beautiful. The crops continued growing. Life moved forward. Beneath the soil, hidden from every human eye, the bamboo roots continued expanding. Deeper, stronger, wider, repairing, building, growing. Villagers could not see it. We could not see it. It was happening. One evening, a violent storm swept through the region. Dark clouds filled the sky. Rain poured endlessly. Powerful winds bent trees and damaged fences. Many crops suffered severe damage. The next morning, farmers walked their fields, assessing the destruction. Some lost entire sections of their harvest. Others spent days making repairs. Wei's farm survived better than most, but the storm left him exhausted. As he worked throughout the day, he began wondering if he should finally stop watering the bamboo. After all, rain had soaked the ground. The seed had received plenty of water. And after 3 years, surely one missed day wouldn't matter. The thought seemed reasonable. Perfectly reasonable. Yet as evening approached, he found himself carrying the bucket once again. Not because the bamboo needed it, but because consistency mattered. 1 day becomes 2. 2 days become a week. A week becomes a habit. And habits shape futures. So he watered the soil again. The third year slowly came to an end. Winter returned to the valley. Snow-covered rooftops, frost-coated fields, cold winds swept through the mountains. One night, while gathered around a warm fire, John asked his father a question. Do you think the bamboo is growing underground? Wei smiled. Maybe. How much? I don't know. Boy stared into the flames. That seems unfair. Why? Because you're working hard and can't even see the results. Boy laughed softly. Many important things in life are like that. Boy looked confused. Boy continued. When you learn to read, you don't become an expert in a day. When a farmer plants crops, he doesn't harvest the next morning. When a blacksmith makes a sword, he shapes it one strike at a time. John nodded. And the bamboo? The bamboo grows when it's ready. Outside, snow continued falling. Inside, the fire crackled gently. Neither father nor son realized that the most important chapter of the bamboo story was drawing closer. The years of waiting were nearly over. The roots were almost ready. And soon, after years of silence beneath the soil, the world would finally see what had been happening all along. End of chapter 3.